Hey guys, Eric here, Mr. Fired Up Wealth. It's been a couple weeks. I haven't been buying a lot, but I did add one new stock to my portfolio this week. I thought I'd bring you a quick video to share it with you. Now, this is a cloud software company, and it's an industry leader in a growing market with a total addressable market of $18.5 billion. It's a SaaS business with a high recurring revenue stream. It's also a profitable business with a 27% top line growth number. Any idea what stock it is? Stay tuned to find out. All right, guys, so I'm going to break this company down for you, give you a concise background of the company, and give you some bullet points as to why I added it to my portfolio and why you might want to consider adding it to your portfolio. So what does the company do? In a nutshell, they help companies close books faster and cheaper with less errors. We're talking about accounting software here, SaaS software. It seems very straightforward, right? So what? What's so great about this company? Well, it's now cash flow positive. It wasn't for a while. It has a massive market opportunity in front of it. In fact, it's a huge opportunity. Wait till you see the numbers I'm going to share with you in a couple of minutes. I think it's staggering. And they're a market leader in a market they actually created, and they actually have now a partnership with the world's largest ERP provider. Okay, what's the company? Blackline, stock ticker BL. So stay with me. You're going to want to see these numbers. Let's dig a little deeper into the company, into Blackline, what they're all about. They're a leader in finance and accounting software, and they help companies automate and streamline a variety of processes, including the financial close process, account reconciliation, and intercompany accounting. Really exciting stuff. By providing a scalable and transparent platform, Blackline acts as a central workspace for finance and accounting professionals and enables them to take raw financial data from multiple systems and transform it into reliable, audit-ready financials for finance and accounting professionals. All right, guys, so this is the Blackline investor presentation. It's from February 13 of 2020. It's very well done. It's very professional. This is what first got my attention to the company, and then I did my homework after looking at this presentation and decided it was a great opportunity for a long-term hold. So let's just look at the highlights here. Of course, it's a SaaS-based platform. It's dealing with accounting and finance. I mentioned earlier it has an $18.5 billion estimated TAM. That's total addressable market. They're recognized as the leader for financial close solutions. They have a strong competitive moat. Obviously, you always want that. Think Warren Buffett. 29% top-line revenue growth with 110% dollar-based net revenue retention. That's very good for SaaS. Their vision is to lead finance and accounting operations worldwide through strategic finance transformation. You're going to see anywhere in the cloud universe, you're going to see digital transformation, and that's really what CIOs and executives want to talk about. So this is really kind of right down that alley of what everybody wants to do right now with their money. When you think of budgets, when you think of software, when you think of cloud, finance leaders are overwhelmed, and that's very true. I work in the cloud industry, so what I do is I take people from on-prem applications and help with the transformation into cloud. I also help with the sustainment of that, so doing managed services and things like that within my company. But financial leaders are overwhelmed. 81% of organizations believe their finance function is not operating at a level necessary to transform into a strategic role within their corporation. And 51% of finance leaders feel increased operational responsibilities that are basically stretching their role. And a third of accounting teams spend a majority of their time on repetitive, low-value tasks. This is pretty interesting. Financial close is chaos on a deadline. It might be small if you're on a phone or what have you, but this is a really cool slide. I mean, it has everything from Microsoft Excel to WebEx. The reporting. But this is really a great nutshell for finance and accounting, all the different systems and just how overwhelming their job is in this environment today. So take a look at that. And you can go on their website. I'll put in the video, I'll put a link to this presentation so you can go take a look at this on a computer, on your phone, and get a better view of it as well. It's becoming increasingly challenging, rising business complexity, global regulatory issues, exponential growing data volume and quality of data, expectation of accuracy and real-time data. So what Blackline does is they transform the financial close. You've got the control, the transparency, the efficiency, the confidence. It enables strategic finance to do everything from account reconciliation to journal entry to smart close. I won't go through all this and bore you to death if you're not into accounting, Here are some of the key things that are important as an investor. So large and underpenetrated addressable market. So right now it's showing, you see these three black dots down here. This is saying $289 million. That's Blackline LTM revenue comprised of 3,000 customers. And they're saying there's 165,000 customers, target customers. So the customers that they're going after, that's $18.5 billion for financial close market. So they've literally $289 million has been penetrated, and there's $18.5 billion. So over $18 billion left that they can go after. This, to me, as an investor, this is what I love to see. They have a moat. They can attack this. They have a plan for it. They have a good sales team. They're profitable. This is really good. So let's keep digging through it here. Go-to-market customer strategy. So they do enterprise, they do mid-market, and they also do expansion of the accounts 1 year after initial sale. They do a lot of business with SAP. I mentioned earlier that they work with one of the largest ERP vendors in the world. That is SAP. They have a great strategic relationship and partnership with them. Here's, strength across geographies, sectors, and sizes. So look at this. You got on your far left-hand side, you've got consumer and retail. So Coca-Cola, Costco, Nike, Hershey. These are great companies. I own a lot of these stocks. Technology, Autodesk, GoDaddy, Zendesk. You've got industrial. You got healthcare. Healthcare's got DaVita. Services. You've got Hilton on there. You've got Holiday Inn, SiriusXM. Financial services. You've got Russell Investments, RSA. Some really good companies in there. Johnson Controls, Kimberly-Clark. Competitive landscape. So competition, status quo is Excel. The point solutions, you've got Trendtech and FlowQuast. ERP, so you got SAP, and they partner with them. Oracle is a competitor, but then NetSuite is actually a partner of Blackline, and NetSuite is owned by Oracle. So it's an interesting landscape, but there's a lot of opportunity there. Here's ERPs, provide a lot of functionality. I won't go through all this if you're not into the ERP world, but this is actually a really cool slide kind of showing how ERP, all the different parts or components of the puzzle that go into ERP. So when you're thinking of an ERP solution, something like Oracle or SAP can do a lot of these things, but there's a lot of best of breed companies like Blackline that will integrate with your overall ERP infrastructure to make your business operate more effectively, more efficiently. So, and speaking of that, best of breed provides superior solutions. And so you'll see Salesforce right here. You got Zendesk, Workday, obviously Salesforce, the CRM, Workday with HCM. You've got, all the Zora's in here, ADP. You got all the different components that kind of go into an ERP system, and Blackline down here for the financial controls and automation. Okay. Here's I don't know if you're familiar with Magic Quadrants. You've probably seen in my other videos, but Gartner is a company. They do research, a lot of IT research. So they have a Magic Quadrant, and for 4 years in a row, Blackline has been recognized as the industry leader. You can see Blackline is right here. Oracle's right next to them, and some of the other companies we mentioned earlier. But they really are the leader, and they have been for 4 years in the Magic Quadrant. I'm not going to go through their leadership team, but they do have a reputable management team. I don't know all these people, very well, but I did, a little bit of research on the CTO, the CIO, and the CEO, just to kind of get their backgrounds. I looked them up on LinkedIn. Growth levers. So they want a strategic partner to CFO, SAP. They got customer expansion. They got the partner ecosystem. And the big one, number 5, international expansion. Well, I think the international expansion for these guys is going to be huge in the next couple of years. Here's the strategic partner to the CFO. Won't go through this too much, but a lot of really impressive slides. So here's Blackline's SAP Total Addressable Market with Solex. There's 1,300 in North America. There's 3,000 in Europe. Rest of the world, 4,000. Asia, 700. So there's $1 billion there. Here's a Blackline use case for SAP cloud transition. So if you're familiar with SAP, that's S/4HANA, and Blackline, integrates very well if you're going from an on-prem SAP to an S/4HANA cloud solution. And the customer expansion in action, you can see here's mid-market on the left, enterprise on the right, and you can see every year, the kind of the growth in the number of users. So you can see a pretty decent spike here. Lots of good things for this company, and they're kind of on the up and up, which is why I invested in them this week. I got in this at $56 and change, I think, and then it went up over 60, and I think everything sold off Friday, so it's in the I think it was at $58 or something like that. But if you can get this thing, in the mid 50s and dollar cost average, I do like the price point here. Here's customers who target 2,800 smart close. Won't go through that too much. So here's the partner ecosystem. SAP, which we've talked about, Deloitte, we talked about Oracle, NetSuite, also Microsoft Dynamics. That's Microsoft CRM. They work with Cognizant, IBM. You've probably heard of some of these companies. Continuing international expansion I mentioned earlier, but there's a lot of opportunity in Europe and in Australia. Key metrics and financials. So 29% Q4 19 revenue growth. That's a high growth subscription model. Compelling expansion model, 110% for Q4 2019 dollar-based net revenue retention rate. That's a really, really good number. Q4 19, 83% gross margin, 83% gross margin. I mean, you're not going to find much better than that anywhere. And then 7% operating margin. Highly visible subscription model. You can see the growth from 2015. You go from 84 to 289. This is 27% year-over-year growth from 2018 to 2019. You can see the subscription and support revenue has gone up 25% year-over-year, and their services revenue is up 59% year-over-year growth. So to me, these numbers are just staggering, impressive, something I want to be a part of, and it looks like, they're going up and up. So, you look at, here's a 23%, 20%, strong renewal rate, driving retention rate, obviously very important. High gross margins, we kind of talked about, but your gross margins, you're looking at basically 80%. So they actually have been, improving. If you look at 2018 and 2019, we actually improved, 85% top line, 87, 82, and 83. Here's the big one for me. So demonstrated improvement in profitability and cash flow. So if you look at 2015, they were negative 24% net income margin. Okay. 2018, I like this company. They had about a 2% margin. In hindsight, I probably could have invested in this company sooner. I've been watching them for a while, but you can see their free cash flow margin has gone from negative 14% in 2015 to a positive 7% in 2019. You want to get into companies like this, you can see a trend, and this is going to continue upward. I think that these free cash flow margins are going to continuously improve. Their target operating model, here's your service revenue. So your gross margins are 83%. Their target's 80%. They've been doing a little better than their target. Operating margin, you can see here at 6%. Their target model is actually 20%. Okay, so I think you're going to see slow improvements on that. So here's some of the financials if you're really into looking into all the different financials. But this company is great, and I'm going to get into some bullet points here. I'm going to show you just a quick slide at the end here. I'm going to show you all the bullet points, tell you this is why I bought this stock, and this is why you should look into it further. Okay, so what you've been really waiting for. Here's the closing slide. It's going to have all the bullet points to tell you why I bought the stock and why you should consider adding it to your portfolio. Here are the reasons that I bought Blackline, stock ticker BL. So first and foremost, the financial close market is poised to grow exponentially over time, regardless of economic conditions around the globe. Every company must close its books every month, and it's a never-ending process, and they all want to do it faster and cheaper and with less errors. Well, Blackline software cuts costs, it reduces those errors, and shaves days off the time it takes to close the books every month. So basically, no matter what the economy does, businesses have to close books. This is something that has to be done, and it is not recession-proof necessarily to sell the software, but the actual process of closing books is recession-proof. So if they can help do it faster, cheaper, with less errors, they might actually accelerate their business in a down market. Blackline created this market, and as we mentioned earlier, they have a huge potential for growth. Frost and Sullivan estimated earlier, we talked about 18.5 billion total addressable market with 165,000 potential customers worldwide. Massive, massive numbers there. 93% recurring revenue mix with a high retention rate. 27% year-over-year subscription growth, which is great. 23% compound annual growth rate, which is very good. 80% plus gross margins. Can't get much better than that. Consistent improvement in profitability and cash flow. This was a big one for me. Solid management team. They have a moat. They have limited competition and they're best of breed. That's what you want as an investor. Strong partnerships with lots of room for growth in this area. That partnership with SAP, which will accelerate top line growth. So SAP is the world's largest ERP software vendor. And SAP became a global reseller for Blackline back in 2018. So as a reseller, that means their global sales force, SAP, can resell Blackline and get paid for it. So if I'm a sales guy and I work for SAP and people are, wanting Blackline, I can bundle Blackline into my SAP deal. I can get paid a commission from Blackline on that deal. And Blackline, of course, is going to get the revenue and the recurring revenue from the subscription model. So having the number one ERP vendor as a partner is absolutely huge. Of course, it'll become a big source of growth in the coming years. Revenue from the SAP partnership increased last quarter to 25% of Blackline sales. This is going to accelerate them big time. This is one of the major reasons that I bought this stock. And they have strong profitable growth with a scalable business model. And lastly, continued international expansion. Obviously, SAP is German based, so that's even going to help them more on the international expansion side. Blackline is a US company, but the international expansion is huge, especially with the SAP partnership. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really appreciate your time. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe. On the bottom right-hand side, I'm backwards here. Bottom right-hand side, click the little subscribe button. There's a little bell that you have to click to get notifications. You can also check out our Facebook group. Just go on Facebook and search for Fired Up Wealth. Appreciate your time and attention. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.